Baylor would be less impulsive, but here Baylor is swooping. Glad we evaded that lizard with your forthright deduction of lizard movements. And Kristen's like, yeah, whatever. New strategy. We're staying under the trees. So I just love their dynamic. Like, they are perfect foils for each other. Because Gwaine is this, like, arrogant, highborn douchebag. And Kristen is this focused, scary, violent dude who's trying to do his duty and do the mission and spill some blood. So they're kind of opposites, and I enjoy their dynamic, and I wonder how they will continue on. We don't know much about Gwaine Hightower in the books. It mentions... Oh, well, we did see Gwaine in season 1, episode 1 between them in the show, but... Anyway, so, yeah, Gwaine is Otto's son and Alicent's brother, and he's here to support his family in their war. And it seems that only now is Gwaine realizing that this Crown Lands houses. He's over here, House Staunton. So Simon Staunton wants to go back to Rook's Rest to defend his castle from Kristen's army. Because most of these councillors that Rhaenyra has on Dragonstone are lords of the Crown Lands. Like Bartimus Celtigar is from Claw Isle over here. Lord Massey is here. So... These the people who are advising her are the people who are most at threat. Are these councillors going to listen to her? I mean, something to keep in mind is that these councillors aren't all that important. Like, the lords of bloody Staunton and Celtigar and Massey, these are minor houses. You could argue that Rhaenyra doesn't need these people, really, because Rhaenyra does have the support of Lord Cregan Stark and Lady Jane Arryn, who rule entire kingdoms. Like, those people are way more powerful. But... they are far away in the north, and they're not much use to Rhaenyra just yet. So, Dist is an enemy, I suppose. But, yeah, I agree, Paisley, in the live chat. Rhaenyra doesn't need these minor lords all that much, really. She could have someone else. So she says, yep, I will take your advice under advisement, which is like, okay. That's not giving the councillors any more faith in her, but Rhaenys, I think, seems to think that Rhaenyra is at least trying to do the right thing. That, look, there will probably be a war no matter what we do, but it's worth a try. And again, it's interesting seeing Jace watching this. Like, how does Jace feel about this? It seems as though Jace would really like to get in on the war, but at least for now, he is obeying and respecting his wishes to wait. Thanks for the super chat from Lobi, who says, it's funny how everyone talks casually about sending dragons places to do things. Dragons are directly compared to swords. No one fully understands the power of a dragon, even the Targaryens. Yeah, well, remember in Season 1, when Viserys was saying, dragons are a power that we cannot... This is not what he had in mind. He sees behind his window there's like candlelight and someone's knocking at his door, but when he goes through the door there's no one there, and the candlelight is gone as well. I wonder if this was Alice Rivers or someone else knocking at his door, or if this is entirely part of the vision. The Daemon is saying that Daemon is not sure what's real and what's imaginary. We get another shot of the weirwood roots here, reminding us that the magic power of the old gods and the weirwoods, and now Daemon is having kooky dreams. And then he wakes up outside the weirwood tree in Harrenhal. I love... And I think we are past the point of no return. I also very much enjoyed the Harrenhal spooky visions. Lots of lore to talk about with the Harrenhals. I enjoyed our glimpse of the Brackens and the Blackwoods. I enjoyed Kristen continuing to be a disaster for everybody, including himself. Mysaria continues to be intriguing. I liked deepening Rhaenyra's character. I'm curious what's going to happen to her on her mission east and the various kids that she's safeguarding. Simon Strong was hilarious, and he like perfectly encapsulated the absurdity and the tragedy of this war. The cycles of violence achieve nothing for no one, and Harrenhal is a testament to that. Harrenhal is a symbol of the disaster caused by man's hubris and man's violence, the pointlessness of trying to establish a legacy through spilling blood. Yeah, I think it was a yeehaw good time for all involved. So, oh yeah, and we also met Ulf, who supposedly is a Targaryen bastard. Let's see how that plays out. Hashtag new Jon Snow, Ulf Snow. So yeah, I'm now going to try to answer as many of your donations as I can. and then we're going to close up the live stream. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Please press like and subscribe. You can listen to these live streams as a audio podcast on the podcast app of your choice or on Spotify. Links are in the description. There is another podcast feed for the main Alt-Shift-X edited videos, which you can also listen to as an audio feed podcast for your convenience. Links in the description. And we will be making fit with their characters and fit with the tone and the theme of the story. For example, Simon Strong is like, oh yeah, well, it doesn't really matter who I swear loyalty to, but it does matter that our pigs are overcooked. Because it's true. Like, this is a pointless conflict. It is a family fighting itself, and it is more important to actually enjoy life. Like, there is such a thread of that through the books. Like, George Martin constantly writes about food, and the point of living is to enjoy life and to eat good food and to love good people. The point is not to spill blood in the name of some king who you've never met. So I feel like Simon's humor, like mocking the absurdity of the chair made of swords, it perfectly fits the actual meaning of the story as well as being funny. So I agree. It's humor that's deployed in a really fitting way that actually serves the story. Thank you, Stephen, who says, I feel the same frustration with Rhaenyra's hesitation to take action as I did with Dany in Season 7 and 8. Yeah, well, with Daenerys in the end of Game of Thrones, they sort of created this dichotomy where it's like, you can use your dragons to burn King's Landing and kill thousands and win, or you can faff about and hope that you can win the war with words. Which I always felt was like a bit of a false dichotomy, or at least they didn't establish that conundrum well enough. Here in Hot D, it's a little bit more complicated because, if Rhaenyra is going to use dragons in this war, she has to put her children in danger, and she's already lost her son Luke, so it makes a lot of sense that she's worried about using her dragons. And also, we've seen how dragon fire does tend to kill innocent people. So, I hope that they're making that sort of paradox a bit more here. But, yeah, there are other differences between Rhaenyra and Daenerys, which are going to be really important, right? Because we don't want Rhaenyra to be Daenerys 2.0. Thank you, Shadow Humor, who says, we need an Aegon the Conqueror and Balerion flashback. Give us something to get excited about. Yeah, well, there is a show or a movie about... Alicent was saying, no, I swear, Viserys named Aegon heir instead of you. And yeah, that does break Rhaenyra's heart, because she always wanted Viserys' approval, and for a moment it's like, oh god, maybe he really didn't love her. But then including the vast majority of the characters and the details, they've kept most of the names, even when half of the names are the same. So I think they are trying quite hard to be faithful to the lore, and that does perhaps make the show a little confusing and sort of cover a lot of ground, but I think they're doing a pretty good job. Thank you, Name, who says, did it look like Rhaenyra was suppressing a smile at the end? It looked she was to me, and I interpreted that as relief that Papa V didn't disinherit her. Yeah, I mean, I guess Rhaenyra, there's so many emotions going on here. Like, Rhaenyra is partly leaving this conversation with vindication, realizing that, oh yeah, so Alicent misunderstood Viserys. Alicent wrongly thought that Viserys wanted Aegon to be heir, but I really am the true chosen heir, and I really am in the right. I guess that's part of the positive emotion that Rhaenyra is getting from this. But Rhaenyra is also getting the horror and disappointment that my friend Alicent is saying that it's too late to be friends again, and I guess we're enemies, and I guess I'm going to have to go to war against my ex-best friend. And I guess I can't prevent thousands of people from dying. So, mixed emotions, I would say. Thank you, Kate Master, and thank you, Artemis Rose, who says, since Otto has learned the death of Viserys has divided the Greens, now could be the best opportunity for Rhaenyra to act instead of keeping peace. I think that's a fair argument. I think right now, while everything's in disarray and the leadership of the Greens is weak, now's a pretty good time to attack and squash them. I mean, if Rhaenyra just sent, herself on Syrax, and, Daemon on Caraxes, and Rhaenys on Melis, and Jace on Vermax,